All right, looks like we're live. If I'm working, if it's working, coming through on your end, let me know. Okay, we're just gonna roll with it, guys. This is Daniel from the Arms Family Homestead channel. I appreciate you being here. This is the first time for me on the Homestead Network. I want to start off by thanking Brad from the Big Family Homestead for giving me this opportunity. I don't really know how well this is going to work out for me. We're trying to make it work. The live for me is tough because of my schedule and things going on, and it's just hard to do the same time on the same day every week. But we're gonna try it for a little while and see how it goes. Hopefully, we don't have too much buffering today. If it's not working out, let me know, guys. Leave me a comment in the chat section. Um, Seems like in the Homestead Network, most people, the general consensus, if you have a question, leave it in the chat and all caps, just because it's easier to see that all cap question than just all the basic chat. So, looks like I see a few people signing in on the chat. Good morning, good morning. Craig Ellison working good. Tanya Hall, hello from Ohio. Well, hello from Oklahoma. Like I said, this is my first time on the Homestead Network, so I don't really have a whole lot lined out. Took some notes, got a few things written down. I assume most of you already know who I am and who we are here, but I figure I better do a little bit of an introduction since it's on the Homestead Network. There may be some people signing in that don't know us. So, as I said, my name's Daniel. This channel of ours, Arms Family Homestead, started off years ago as just my personal channel, just to post videos from hunting and fishing and stuff for the kids, and kind of changed up the format. I don't know, back about January, and started posting some gardening videos. And I've grown a huge garden for years. Produce a lot of our own food. Not, I mean, on a small scale, we produce some food for our family. I should say. We still use the grocery store way more than we need to, but uh, the homestead side of things, I never really used the term homesteader until I kind of got into this network of people on YouTube, and that's kind of what the community is referred to. So that's kind of where I threw that in my name of my channel because I knew that was where I would fit the best. But really, for us, it's just life. It's just country living. Um, we hunt, we fish, we grow a garden. I want to show my kids that food doesn't just come from a grocery store, and that you know you can go out in the woods and provide for yourself if you have to. And hey, let's face it, in my opinion, the stuff you buy at the grocery store, just not the same. It's just not as healthy. It's just not the same. So, anyways, like I said, for us, it's always been about just a normal country lifestyle. We live in the country, and that's what's normal here. People around me don't refer to themselves as homesteaders or anything like that. Um, some people ask if we're preppers, and that no, I don't think so. But do we do some of the same things? Yes. We can our own food from our garden, and we save up things and store food and things like that. But that's just common sense. I don't feel like we're doomsday preppers, because that's the thing. With my wife especially, that prepper is almost like a derogatory term. She doesn't want anybody to refer to her as a prepper because, I guess, probably because of this Doomsday Prepper television show, when they went out and picked a bunch of um, off the wall kind of people. So, well, we're not preppers in my opinion, but we do store, our own homegrown food. Um, just our lifestyle. We're just showing our lifestyle. Um, my channel's kind of evolving. I don't really know exactly where I want to go with it, but people really seem to respond well to just showing who we are, who we are and what we do. And I enjoy it, man. I love making videos, and I have a blast with it. My wife's a little camera shy, and I think that kind of plays into the storyline. So it works out well for us. Weston, my oldest, is 14. He could care less about anything that has to do with growing a garden or food or anything like that. He's 14. He's a teenager. I understand that. He's a sports guy. Emily, my 8-year-old daughter, absolutely loves anything to do with the garden. And Houston is my sidekick. I mean, Houston's my golden ticket to the videos because I know you people love Houston. So, uh, Houston's 4 and he's really into it right now. I'm sure he'll grow out of it someday, but yeah. Uh, Trying to read a few comments. It looks like you guys are quite a bit behind me. I know there's going to be some buffering. I just don't have the best internet speed, so I'll try to bear with me, and I'll get to any questions. But they're going to be, looks like probably a minute or so behind where I'm at. Why do we make videos? Like I said, I just enjoy it. I'm a video guy. My wife's a photographer. She loves taking pictures, and she can tell a story with pictures, and she's really good at it. I got into making videos years ago by basically um, I wanted to show my hunting adventures with my kids, and so every animal that Weston's ever killed has been on video, and that's kind of what got me started. Uh-oh. Says an error has occurred. I don't know if you guys are still on here or not. Well, I had a problem, and I hope I'm back live now. My clock's back. My clock is back ticking along up there, so maybe we're back. Hang on just a second. Okay, so anyways, as I was saying, the video side of things and posting videos came from showing our hunting adventures and showing. I wanted to show everything that Weston was doing in hunting and stuff. And a friend of mine, let me go back. After posting several videos on YouTube, a friend of mine has an outdoor television show, a hunting show that's also a ministry. See, Final Descent Outdoors airs. It's a nationally airing television show on the Pursuit channel, and I guess our videos got good enough, and he said, "Hey, can I use some of these videos for the show?" And shoot, yeah, heck yeah, you can show those on national TV, and so that kind of inspired me to get more into the video side of things. And then after a couple of years, he asked me to be a part of the show, so I had to really kind of get into the video side of things, and I've learned a lot through that television show, and trying to get better at editing videos and doing things in a way that make them interesting, being able to try to tell a story with what's going on. So that's kind of what got me started on the YouTube thing. And as I started posting some gardening videos and some just homestead type videos, people started responding really well, and um, it was growing, and I just kind of went from there. And I really enjoy posting the videos now. I have a lot of fun with it. So as far as where we're going with it, I don't know. Our channel's evolving. There's just in the homestead world and the garden world, for YouTube, everybody says pick a specific niche and stay in that niche, and but there's so many good gardening channels, and there's so many really really good homesteading channels, and quite honestly, how many videos do you need to watch of somebody planting a tomato? And there are a lot of people that are a lot better at making those videos than I am. So, um, I just kind of want to evolve and just not just show, okay, here's how you grow onions, here's how you grow tomatoes, here's how you grow this. I still do that and I still want to do that, but that's not what my channel is going to be all about. Um, so, and talking with several people and trying to get spread the word and grow my channel. There's so many other things involved as far as let me read some comments. Okay, so yeah, y'all are still quite a bit behind on the live stream with the chat, but that's okay. I'll try to keep up with your comments. If you have any questions or something, it may be way behind. I'll have to bounce back to that subject, and I'm a terrible public speaker, and I'll bounce around anyways. So, but I guess that's what a live video is about. It's unedited and real. So, anyways, as far as growing our YouTube channel, be the weed. I was hot and sweaty and tired this morning, and I don't know. Yeah, I just saw that. So, uh, anyways, I'm trying to grow this channel, spread the word. So the vlog style, I figured that would just be something to add to it to get more content out there, because day-to-day life is what I like to show, and that's where my kids seem to shine the best. Is I can put Weston out. Well, let me rephrase that. I can put Houston out there in the garden, and he wants to learn, and I can show that. But it's easier for me to tell a story in that vlog type setting. So I really think I like that. It's kind of new for us, and I'm not going to do it every day. I can't. There's just no way I can do a daily vlog, and I don't think that's what the viewers are going to want. I may be wrong. It's a homestead channel, so I still want to keep that homestead feel and the country living and who we are. So you guys are where it's at. So I just kind of go back and watch my analytics and see what everybody seems to like and stay with it. So as far as growing the channel, I'm still pretty small. Signed up for a Patreon account. May post some extra stuff on Patreon if I can get some followers over there as the channel grows, just to help support. And it takes a lot of time to do the YouTube thing, and it takes a lot of equipment. Well, it doesn't take a lot of equipment, but I'm a techie kind of guy, and I like to do things that in a way that makes it easier. So I'm always looking and trying to buy new stuff. And I'm just a guy. They're just toys, so it's not really. Most of my videos are shot with my iPhone, but the extra stuff, like I said, with the outdoor television, there's so much equipment and things that you buy that make it a lot easier. So YouTube's kind of the same way. So make it easier and faster on us, then we'll get more videos posted. So another thing, when I had some comments a while back when I posted a video about the questions and stuff about my mailing address, and yeah, I don't mind telling the world what I do for a living and that I'm in law enforcement and all of that, but I'm just not going to post my mailing address on YouTube. So I guess I'm going to have to set up a P.O. box. It'll probably just sit there empty every once in a while, but Be the Weed t-shirts. There you go. See, Be the Weed t-shirts. There you go. That'll work. May have to look into that. Sell t-shirts. Anyway, so if I can get a P.O. box set up, I'll post that on my About page and wherever, in case anybody just wants to send a card or something. I don't know. Somebody was asking about it, so I guess that's probably a checklist item that I need to get set up. Quote of the day: be the weed. I'm trying to read all the comments, guys. This live chat stuff's different. You know, some of the guys on the Homestead Network make this look so easy, and I have a hard time staying with the camera and staying with the chat all at the same time. What's been going on around here lately? The fair. The kids entered all the stuff in the fair and racked up all kinds of ribbons. We live in a small county, guys. It's not a huge county fair, and quite honestly, it's really been struggling the last year or two, and we need to get more people involved in the 4-H and FFA stuff. For these kids need that stuff, I think, and it's a cool thing for them. And Houston absolutely loved it. He got to take his watermelon and enter it in the fair, and when he went back later that evening and had a blue ribbon on his watermelon and all the other vegetables, he was just he was so excited. I mean, it was just genuine excitement that was really cool to see, because he doesn't even know that there was prize money involved yet. So when he does get his little prize money check in the mail, he's going to be super excited again. But the fair turned out really well for the kids. The ducks, those were ducks that we raised. I had a video when we bought them several months ago, and we originally had 4, and it turned out to be 2 drakes and 2 hens. But we lost the 2 hens, so we took the 2 drakes. Sorry guys, phone's ringing. I don't know who it was. I'm not answering it. Anyway, so we took the 2 drakes, and they ended up actually being the only waterfowl in the fair. So basically, they won every ribbon that there was for waterfowl. And oh well, it makes the kids feel good. They don't know any different, and all they see is the big ribbons. So they were excited about that. Let's see what else. Things happening around here. Garden's kind of winding down. Man, summer heat in Oklahoma takes a toll on a garden. The high tunnel, it's just super hot in there right now. But I've about got everything cleaned out. Got the garden about 80% all tilled under, and I'll probably make a little video. I'll plant that in a cover crop for the winter, because I doubt I'll grow anything out there in the garden. I will inside the high tunnel throughout the winter, but not in the garden. I've just got to get a bigger fence built around that thing to keep the deer out. This year the garden struggled big time. I've never had a deer problem. I live out here in the country, and there's deer everywhere. But that hot wire, up until this year, 3-wire hot wire, has always kept the deer out. This year it struggled. It's frustrating, guys, to go out there and do all that work and overnight lose a whole crop. And it's just is what it is. I never would have dreamed that deer would eat okra leaves and squash leaves. I mean, those are just doesn't even sound like something they want to eat. They're just rough. It's like eating sandpaper, but they wiped them out. So oh well. So we'll grow through the high tunnel throughout the winter. I'm really, I've about got most everything cleaned out of it. All the tomatoes are, well, there's a few tomato plants left in there. Started a bunch of new stuff from seed, but I really need to get on the ball and I want to build some raised beds and put in there. Hadn't figured out what kind of raised beds we're going to do yet. There's a couple different designs I'm looking at through just YouTube videos. There was one, I think it was, I believe it was on the Homestead Economics channel, or Homesteadonomics. I think I've watched so many; it's been so long. But he built one out of corrugated sheet iron, and framed it out on the top with lumber. And hey, Krista, hang on, I'm on top of a message. So, anyways, the corrugated metal, I don't have corrugated metal on hand, but I do have um, some leftover metal from when I built my metal building, which it would work just fine. It's not corrugated, but it's painted steel metal or steel sheet metal. So I think that would work. I just don't know how much I have. And then there's always the typical like 2x10 um, 2x10 lumber framed up raised beds. I just think the raised beds would be a lot easier in that high tunnel. So that's a project I need to get started on. The high tunnel itself, this was my first year growing in a high tunnel, and I really kind of got a late start because we got it built so late, and everything was already in the ground outside in the garden before the uh, high tunnel got put up. So it was a late start. I mean, I can't really judge this whole season off of that high tunnel and how well it went because I did get such a late start on it. So I'm really excited to be able to grow inside throughout the winter and then get such a better start in the spring. So in the high tunnel deal, um, it's a little controversial subject. I had several people in our area, in our county, approaching me for a couple of years to sign up on the NRCS program for the high tunnel project, and I didn't really want to do it. Didn't really want to do it, and they kept saying, well, your county gets a certain amount of money, and if they don't use it, they lose it and don't get the funding for next year. So, anyways, I did get approved on the high tunnel grant and through the NRCS program, and it paid for I think $2.50 a square foot. So that high tunnel, it was about $5,600, and I think it only cost me like $1,500 out of pocket. Some people are like, well, that's just welfare for farmers, and the farm grants out there, the farm bills out there, and it's money for small farms, and it's just something we can take advantage of and use to help spread the word, help spread the knowledge we have to other people about growing your own food. It doesn't have to be done in a high tunnel, but it sure makes it easier. Um, Trying to catch up on the comments, guys. Okay. Um, I get a lot of comments and a lot of questions on my channel. I get a lot of comments on my channel about the goats and why do we have goats? Quite honestly, it just helps us on our taxes. In Oklahoma, you can have a farm exemption on your taxes to help offset some of your income, and that's mainly what our goats are for. We raise them and sell them. We started off several years ago when Emily was about 2 with bottle baby goats. It's kind of how we got into goats. Because the property we live on is mostly timber, cattle just didn't work out. I had over the years, several different tried cows several different times, and we just don't have enough grass to support them throughout the year, and then you end up feeding them and feeding them through the summer and the fall and the winter, and it's just not cost effective for me. If I had mostly grass, cattle would work. So we switched over to goats because they're more of a browse type animal. They eat more like a deer, and they just kind of go through everything, picking and choosing, and they're just not going to graze on grass. And out here in the timber, they eat a lot of leaves and a lot of broadleaf things that cattle won't eat. So we switched over to goats, and Emily raised a few on a bottle, and we started letting them out, and they did really well. And so we just kind of grown and grown and grown, and I think this year I had like 25 mama goats. Most of them had twins, so we did really well on the goats. We just typically raise them and sell them at auction, get them up to about 50 pounds and sell them. We don't milk our goats; they're meat goats. As far as meat, goes, we've never butchered any of our own goats here. I've got a friend that butchers a few goats, and he eats goat meat a lot, and I like it. I really enjoy it, but we've got a freezer full of beef, which is a whole nother story because we, like I said, we don't raise cows anymore. But typically, we'll try to get one calf or so and raise it on a bottle, raise it up, and butcher it because my wife, um, my wife is not real big on eating the goats. Sorry guys, I was reading a couple comments. My wife's not real big on eating the goats, and she really likes the beef. So you can put a 800 or 900 pound calf in the freezer and have a freezer full of meat for a year. So, family roots. Where in the country do you live? South or out west? I live in Oklahoma. Well, I'm going to go ahead and answer that in the chat because it's going to take a long time. Well, Chicka Wolf did it for me. South Central Oklahoma. Yep. God's country out here in the sticks. So anyways, we typically butcher, a calf about every year to year and a half. I've got several family members that have cows all over the country, and what we typically do is we'll get one that a mama won't take or something that we have to raise on a bottle. Since we have kids, they love to take care of it. So we've got one that's fixing to go to the butcher. I haven't made an appointment yet. I need to do that, but we've got a calf that's going to go to the butcher soon, so we'll have a freezer full of meat for a year. So butchering the goats, yeah, we could do that, and that's always an option, but as long as we've got a calf to butcher, that's what we're going to go with. The other day I posted that video about Trooper Talk. Guys, I really think a lot of people would enjoy that, and I got a really good response. But there were several people who made comments and they had a really valid point, and I completely understand where they're coming from. There's just such a fine line when it comes to that stuff. It's hard to explain, but basically the biggest concept is work. I can't use the state and what I do to profit from. So, as far as just talking about law enforcement in general, I think that'll probably be okay. But I can't tie in what I do for a living to this channel because then I'm profiting from work. So, hopefully I can get that to work out. We'll see. Still up in the air. I don't know. It is what it is, and that's just part of it. If we can't talk about it much on here, then that's okay. I get it. But as far as law enforcement in general goes, the world's, or not the world, our country, seems like it's kind of in a shift. Things are changing. I think with social media and the media, things that happen in law enforcement, things that happen, in the heat of the moment 15, 20 years ago didn't get put out to the whole world as fast as they do now with social media. If somebody in law enforcement makes a mistake or something happens that's kind of controversial, it can spread from California to Florida in minutes. And so that's kind of changed law enforcement a little bit, I guess. But just in general, and I've been in law enforcement for 10 years, and the overall consensus that the public has about law enforcement has just gone down and down and down. And it's not, it is what it is. I believe it's our job as people in law enforcement to change that, to do everything we can to ensure the public has that they trust us, and that we don't do anything to break that trust. But that's an officer to officer basis and a department to department basis, and it's law enforcement is just like anything else. There's going to be good cops and bad cops, just like there's going to be good attorneys and bad attorneys, and good gas station clerks and bad gas station clerks. But the unfortunate side of things is when you do have someone in law enforcement that does something wrong, it really paints a negative picture for law enforcement in general. And that is what it is, and it's hard to overcome. So that's part of my channel. That's part of what I want to bring into this channel. Is just showing um, is just showing uh, there's a real side to people in law enforcement. They're still normal everyday people, and that's just part of who I am. I am in law enforcement, but that's not who I am. That's just part of what I do. And I still have a wife and kids and a normal everyday life, and I want people to see that. So um, my old Kentucky homestead asked if I can talk more about the NRCS grant process. um, Basically, in I don't know what it's like from state to state and area to area as far as the application process. But here in our county, we have a NRCS office that does. Let's see, it's the NRCS and USDA, and basically they're an office designed to help farmers and ranchers with all kinds of different things. It's not just the high tunnels, and um, it's not just the high tunnel stuff. NRCS does a lot of programs for cattle owners and ranchers and things. But basically, I just went to the NRCS office, and you have to sign up. Um, it's been over a year ago. Um, I don't know what it's called, but basically, you have to just register your farm in their records, to show you're a small farmer, improve what you do, improve a few things. As far as the NRCS grant itself goes, the application was very easy. They had all the paperwork there. Just um, they walked me through all the steps. After I filled out the paperwork, they came out and basically sent an agent out to the house to see my garden and see where I wanted to grow and what I was doing and why. Um, at first, I was under the understanding to be eligible for the grant, you had to sell a certain percentage of your produce, which ended up not being accurate. You're not required to sell anything. I think at one time that was part of the requirements, uh, but I don't know. So basically, how to apply, I would just research your go to the NRCS and see if you can find get online, go to NRCS website, see if you can find the closest office to you, or just call them. And actually, I think you can do a lot of it online. There's a lot of the NRCS program stuff online that you can at least read about and see what it is. It varies from year to year depending on the farm bill and funding for that. So when I applied, I think my grant was for what I said, $2.25 or $2.50 a square foot, and I think so. Let's see, I applied and it took me almost a year to get it built. So the people that had applied and got approved in 2016 was a little bit more funding. They were over $3 a square foot. So it just depends from year to year on how much funding's available. So check it out online. That would be my first thing is check out the NRCS website and look for their high tunnel program. Uh, Anyways, back to what I was saying about law enforcement. Um, I really believe that we need to get behind all law enforcement, and I mean I'm in law enforcement, so it's different. But as a police officer, there's nothing that makes us feel better than having that assurance of knowing that the public's behind us, that the mass majority of people are behind us. I mean, the day-to-day stuff, you still kind of have to treat every traffic stop the same. But when you know that the public has your back, and you know that people want you there, it it helps. It's good for law enforcement. So if I could ask anything, it would be let your law enforcement in your area know you support them. Let them know you're behind them. Right now in our country, it feels like everyone's against us, and it shouldn't be that way, and we don't want it to be that way. But that's just kind of the way our country has gone lately. So just support law enforcement, pray for your law enforcement, do whatever it takes. We need to come together as a country and quit drawing a line between civilians and law enforcement. I think so. Anyways, that's enough about that. Uh, so as I was saying earlier, the garden's winding down, which kind of moves us in closer to the fall, and then I'm going to be kind of short on just growing in the high tunnel. So, but fall for me is all about deer season. I'm a deer hunting fool. I love it. It does something for me that I can't explain. And I'm not necessarily just a meat hunter, because like I said, we have a lot of meat in the freezer. I let my kids meat hunt. They're more than welcome to shoot a doe, small buck, big buck, whatever it is. But I'm just that kind of guy that'll go sit in the woods for weeks on end for that one opportunity at that one big deer. And I've got several videos. I'll see after I get through with this, I'll see if I can go back and share some links. If you'll go to my YouTube page and go, I think under favorites videos, I've saved several videos in there from Final Descent that are some of my hunting videos that have aired on the show. Or you can just click over to Final Descent Outdoors after this broadcast. Final Descent Outdoors website and check it out there, or you can go to YouTube under Final Descent Outdoors, and I believe most of the previous episodes are on there. So I've been pretty fortunate, killed some big deer over the years, but deer season's coming. So, and I've had some requests at making videos for food plots and deer season preparation and things like that, and that's probably going to start pretty soon. I mean, we're pushing in on September, and bow season in Oklahoma starts October 1st. So I figure once deer season gets here, you'll probably see a lot of me sitting in a deer blind, camoed out, whispering to a camera, because that's where I'm at. All right, guys. That's about all I've got in my notes. We're up to almost 40 minutes, so I got about 20 minutes left. I need some ideas. Where do you guys, anything you want me to answer? I'm going to type a message and we'll send you a message on chat since y'all are so far behind. What are your thoughts on this midday or mid-morning, I guess, live feed? For me personally, the evenings are just too tough with 3 kids going 900 different directions. Most of the Homestead Network shows are weekends. Weekends in the evenings, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday evenings. Just doesn't work for me. The daytime works out a lot better for me. What do you guys think? Riley Stanley asks if I have a lot of ducks. Just the 2 is all we have right now, unless you're talking about wild ducks and hunting wild ducks. Because duck season is a blast. I love duck hunting. There's nothing better than calling in a group of ducks and working them until you can get them to come in, and that's fun. But I don't know if you're talking about wild ducks or domestic ducks. Domestic ducks, we just have 2. Revelation Homestead says you could start a separate channel just for law enforcement stuff. Yeah, I could, but I just don't know what all I can post on there. I mean, I think that is a huge opportunity in law enforcement or opportunity on YouTube. There's just not a lot out there, I don't think. But I don't know what all I can do right now. So and I'm really not into starting another channel. I just don't. I want to show the whole picture of what my family's about and who we are and what we do, and it's little bits and pieces of a lot of things. I mean, we're just a typical American family that goes 900 different directions. So uh, it's just part of it. But I'm really not interested in starting another channel right now. You never know. Someday I might. Um, let's see. What else? What else is going on? Um, our posted a few videos in the vlogs about softball and our softball stuff going on, which that's my wife's little sister Katie, Kady, Katie, not KT. It's Katie, and she's an unbelievable athlete. She's so much fun to watch. And as a freshman, she's a starting catcher, and they got beat last night. Kind of surprised me. They're doing really well. Luckily, it wasn't a district game, but that's just me showing a glimpse into our life, and you guys have responded to it well. So I know it's not homesteading, and that kind of leads me back to I posted that video um, about changing the name of the uh, about changing the name of my channel and stuff, and I don't know that that's where I want to go because you guys are still going to be the same following. You're still going to be my same audience, and uh, you know, and I've thought about changing the name still. I just don't know if I'm going to gain anything from changing the name. So, as far as softball, showing softball videos or football, because Weston's fixing to start football season, that's not homesteading, but that is just part of our life. And, you know, um, Edward Turner says just do cop stories every now and then you should be okay. We'll have a lot of other things in there besides trooper talk. Absolutely. Uh, man, guys, there's so many stories. There's so many things that happen out there that that we see. I think that the general public just doesn't know about, and I'd love to share a lot of that stuff, and I'd love to share. Everybody wants to hear all. What are the best excuses you've heard for people getting out of a speeding ticket and things, and there's so much, and it's really fun to kind of get to see that from my side of things and hear the same stories over and over, and I think the general public would get a kick out of the stuff that you hear and see, but just like someone made a comment or sent me a message, I think um, about sharing that stuff. And they said, what if a defense attorney sees that, or one of the people that you stop, and I mean, we wouldn't be talking about their names, but somebody might see that and tie it into them and end up in a lawsuit. In today's world, you can get in law enforcement in a lawsuit over anything, and I don't want to jeopardize my career and my family's life, my family's livelihood for a YouTube channel. Um, Sharon Brown asks, "How big is your homestead?" I live on 110 acres, and the God's honest truth is I could work my entire life and not be able to afford this 110 acres. I'm a very lucky person. I feel like I'm very blessed. My dad, um, my dad uh, worked in Dallas for a lot of time, a lot of years of his life. He had a career in the steel industry, building the framework for big high rise buildings and bridges and anything big steel in Dallas. And he did pretty well and was able to semi retire when I came along. He was 41 years old when I was born, and basically took his retirement from there and came back home and bought this place. And he bought all the land really cheap back then. And uh, he left it to me when he died. He had cancer. He passed away in 2005. Um, and then he just left this land to me. And today, its value today is um, tremendously higher than what it was when he bought it. He actually bought it for, I think, $400 to $600 an acre, and for 110 acres now, the average land prices around here for a piece that size, a piece of land that size, is $2,000 to $3,000 per acre. So I could work my whole life and never be able to afford this place. Um, Thanks, Krista, for pointing that out. I mentioned that earlier about putting questions in all caps.